Alright, before I got interrupted because I only get 30 minutes record time here, we were talking about buffering colors. We were talking about a buffered color is basically an opaque that gets to a certain darkness and stops. It no longer goes any further. So you get to a certain point and that's as far as you can go. Because I mixed transparent base into this color, it makes it to where we can work up different properties up until this color. So we're able to work with transparents to where we can go in the light areas, add these light shadowing, and keep going until we get to this stage. Once we get to this stage, that's when we start with our next color. Then we go in with our next color, and then we go same process from light to dark and slowly get that deep color in. So what I'm doing now is I'm just coming in here and layering in all these different textures of where the hair direction goes. Doesn't matter if it looks like it's getting too dark, because we're going to come in there and lighten it up with a white stage right after we do this. So I'm keeping the camera tight to the artwork so you guys can kind of see the direction of hairlines. So to make a buffered color, it just means that it's a color that will not go any darker. So if you have a light gray that's a buffered light gray, that means that it will only go to that light gray. You can use opaques. Opaques is a buffered. Buffered color means it'll only go to a certain darkness. If it's true transparent, then as you apply more and more and more, it's going to keep getting darker and darker and darker. So a non-buffered gray would be a black, just a jet black. And then if you worked at it lightly and allowing the light to shine through, then you have your transparent light gray, medium gray, dark gray, and it would keep getting darker and darker and darker. So that's basically as I understand the theory in between the buffered and transparent. It's my understanding of it. That's my story, and that's how I'm sticking to it. So we're just going to keep on going in here and adding the lines, the directional lines of everything, how the hair kind of flows off of everything. Yeah, Rutri, I would love to be able to do that. That takes dual cameras. Which at this point in time, my computer does not like running dual cameras. Okay, so I'm going in this ear, which is real light, but I'm going to add a little bit of shading in here, just so I can come back in with the white and kind of bring it back out. No, the difference in between opaque and transparent is how much binder, how much transparent base they put into it. Okay? So you got a transparent base that you could add into a color and make that color more transparent. So if you have their detail black, their jet black color, and you add transparent into it, then you will have a transparent black, which means it'll take more and more layering to get that to go to that deep black. So that's how you make transparent colors. Now Wicked doesn't really offer transparent colors anymore. They're kind of more of all one color is what you get. But they have a transparent base that you can add into all these colors. So there's no reason to really sell a opaque color or a transparent color. Now you could just basically get your color and make it transparent with base. Basically the same theory as what automotive painters do. Automotive paint's kind of the same thing. We have to add a binder as we're going. They sell pigments, straight toners, which is a heavy pigment, and we take that color and we add it to a different binder. If we want a single stage paint, a vinyl paint, basically whatever we want out of that color, we can sit there and mix it up by choosing what binder we put into it. So what we're doing right now is going in there with this real light gray. It's actually pretty light compared to what you guys are seeing. The camera's bringing it up a lot more. Going in with the light gray and drawing in all our designs, kind of our hair pattern, which way the hair is flowing on this wolf. Trying to get it to where we're starting the image without actually starting the image, to where you can sit there and slowly sketch up to this. Doug said, would Wicked be considered a semi-opaque? Straight out of the bottle it would be considered an opaque, due to the fact that it's designed to hide instantly. Then as you add your translucent binder into it, that's when you start getting into a semi-opaque, into a translucent, into a quote-unquote candy. So, you can call it an underpainting. We're going to actually use some of this as the top color, so it's just, to me, it's part of the way that I airbrush. It's the way I paint. Some people like going in with just black and just going in there and blowing it out and go back in with white and kind of work their way black and white over again and make these colors. Whereas I kind of like coming in here with these colors and making it to where it's easier for everybody to kind of follow along. You get more chances to fix stuff, which is what I like. I like being able to fix stuff. Okay, now we're going to take this. We're going to take this color that I just did, this light gray, and kind of spray it over the whole image. Even over his eyeball. We're just going to lightly transparent this color right over everything. Now what that does is that takes all your colors and brings them kind of real close to each other. Iceman, I don't know. I don't mix Wicked with Autowear. Autowear is more of a water-based paint. Wicked is a kind of a slight chemical. There's a little more VOCs in the Wicked than there is the Autowear, so I wouldn't mix. So yeah, like what Hot Air Custom said. Yeah, in the playground below, there's a donation. There's a tip-in jar. It's not necessary. What it does is it helps me get panels. Helps me with paint, projector. If my if my bulb blows out, helps me save up for cameras and different stuff for the classroom. It also helps me pay for a little bit of the time that I spend doing this stuff. It helps me help you. But it's not necessary. It's if you're a nice guy or gal. It takes 24 hours, Iceman, to show. Oh. I do not know. Mikey Mike, do you know anything about that? Alright guys, what we're doing is I mixed out the color. Now we're going to go with white. We're going to go in with white, and we're going to go over the image again. And now we're going to start pulling out some of those details. Okay, so my white is not straight out of the bottle white. My white is, I have a little bit of transparent in my white, and we also have reducer built into my white. My white bottle I mixed probably 6 months ago, 6 to 7 months ago. That has the 4011 reducer in it and the Wicked paints. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that your white's spraying pretty good. So you want to make sure that you can sit there and spray it, and you get a line wherever you spray. You start getting that instant line. So I'm going to come in here where the brightest white is, right on this nose. And I'm going to do just the line on the nose. Now I'm going to keep going on that and kind of build up the properties of that. Now I'm checking to see if my white's flowing good. I'm checking to see if everything seems to be going right. And now I'm going to come in here and start doing some of the hairlines that are in here. Kind of the soft fades of them. Not trying to cover up what we did before, but I'm working with what we did before. Now what you're going to notice when you have white in the airbrush, the white is going to try to tip dry a lot faster than what the gray was. So what you're going to have to do is every once in a while you're going to have to come in here and just wipe off the needle. Just kind of pick the paint off real softly. And then go back in. Okay. JT just asked, are you going to get a blue shift spraying white on top of the gray? You shouldn't, due to the fact that you're going to be working with this blue shift. The whole entire image is going to be done, start to finish, with layering whites back on top of each color. So you might get a little bit of blue shift, but you're not going to notice that. So what we're going to do is just keep on going in these white spots. And now we're going to start building up all the we're going to just keep it going. I'm having a little bit more tip dry than I want, so I'm adding a little bit of reducer into it, making sure that it sprays right. So we're going to spray in this eyeball, make sure this eyeball gets nice and bright again. work on this hair, get this hair flowing. Now there's a little bit of texture on the top of his nose, so go in there and add that little texture in. Get real close, real small detail, and kind of do cross lines and bumps and little dots, just to kind of get that texture working in. And we're going to be darkening up the nose later, so we can go a little bit lighter than what you want. Look at all the light spots that we have in the face here, and go in there and just relighten those back up, paying more attention to the direction of the hair. I am spraying at 45 psi, and I'm using the, I think it's the Ultrafine from Badger on the velocity. Now, what I find out, a lot of people think that the smaller the tip, the smaller the needle, the smaller the airbrushing they can do. Which I find it to be more of control on the trigger. Usually, when you go too fine on a nozzle size, you start having paint build up in the nozzle, and it won't flow out. So you want to stay with a decent sized needle and nozzle. But what you want to look at when you're looking at airbrushes is the taper of the needle. The longer the taper, the more control you have. So, yeah, don't hesitate. If somebody's interrupting in class, go ahead. Bye. Have a nice day. So this is a classroom that we teach on Blog TV every Saturday. Every Saturday we're in here teaching. We'll do this at 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. It's all different suggestions. Last week, if you look down, we did Elvis. Portrait of Elvis. This week we're working on something with a little more hair tones to it. So we can teach understanding the flowing of hair, how to get that hair to sit there and move back and forth, and different directions of it. So what we're doing here is allowing people on Blog TV to come in here. If they want to airbrush, pick up a pencil, a paintbrush, just to paint along. If you have any questions while you're painting along, it's live right here. I could read the chat. You could ask questions, and then it kind of goes back and forth, flowing on what you guys are saying. So, how you doing tonight, Barcode? So we have people that are coming into the room the first time seeing this. I've seen them on my other site. I have a blog account, Primo Customs. You guys have, a lot of you have seen me there. So what I'm doing is I branched off, and we're just doing a class on Blog TV, which is airbrushing. It's the airbrush form class on Blog TV. So we got people in here right now that are painting along with me. Wouldn't mind having a whole bunch of new people come in, trying out airbrushing. Airbrushing is not that expensive to get into, except for the biggest cost is going to be the price of your compressor, your air source. But a lot of people have home compressors already for air tools, filling up their tires, whatever. And that's all you need is a regulator and an airbrush to go off of that to get started up. So the actual airbrush itself, anywhere from $35 up to I mean, there's an airbrush that costs about $450 retail price. So compressor size, you don't need that big of one. I have little tiny compressors that look like they're about this big, just to fill up a tire would work. All the way up to the compressor I'm using right now is a 100-gallon huge compressor. But it's whatever you want. The smaller the compressor is, the more times you're going to have to listen to it turn on and off. So, but they have little tiny ones, you know. They got little tiny compressors that they use inside nail salons and stuff like that, and it just has to keep a nice steady flow of air supply. You know, a lot of people say you got to buy this type of compressor, you got to spend, you know, just get what you can get right now. See if you like it. See if you like getting into airbrushing. Sears has a whole bunch of little compressors for, you know, less than $100. There's Harbor Freight Tools that has some. Harbor Freight has an airbrush compressor that has a little bit of a little tank on it. So it doesn't cost a lot of money to get into. You could go on Craigslist, and there's all the time somebody's trying to sell an airbrush or a compressor or something like that. And if you're really serious in getting into it, contact me on here. Give me a little message saying I'm looking for this compressor, this type of airbrush or something like that, and I can let you know if it's the right way to go about it. You know, Blog TV's kind of allowed us to do this. Set up this little class here to where you guys can watch and learn, and it gives me a way to get connected with you guys. So it's real cool, the fact that, you know, we have this little connection here. You guys can come in here and watch all different type of paintings, kick back on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, depending on where you're at. Could be even a Sunday night. And learn how to airbrush, watch these things take shape. The class usually runs from about 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and we'll go up until about 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. If we don't get the image drawn this week, then we pick it back up in the following week. So right now, anybody following along, we're just going in and sketching out all the light hairs over our light gray. We basically just started the class, did a lot of explanation on why I use grays and how to get started and different stuff like that. Two, 3, 4, 5 o'clock your time, Mikey. 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, to give you a little bit of a rundown on how we got this image started, is I took a printed image. We had one of our classmates pick this out, and I printed it out this size, which is full paper size. Then I printed it out again, smaller size, so it'll fit in my opaque projector. Put it in the opaque projector, which you could get at Michael's and places like that if you're not good at drawing. Put that in, projected it onto a sheet of aluminum. I projected it on, and I went around with pencil and kind of gave me the trace of where everything is. Then after I got that done, I went in with just looking at the picture and a pencil, and went in and re-sketched all the details. Kind of drew in where all the hairlines direction was. Kind of some breaks on where stuff is, so I know where it is. So that's how I got the image on here. If you want, you can take the actual original image, lay it down with a piece of transfer paper underneath it, and draw it on, and it will transfer the image on the piece of metal. So this is actually, I'm out of a house right now. The school is Blog TV. BlogTV.com, people, the airbrush form class. This is all about you right now, BJ. So, Mikey Mike asked if this is bad to do inside your house, and I'm inside a closed garage right now. I'm using a water-based, non-toxic paint. So the paint is non-toxic, it's safe to use. If I wasn't doing a lot of talking spraying, you could wear a dust mask. If you're very sensitive to different if you're very sensitive to different chemicals and stuff, like if you spray Windex or something like that and you get bothered by it, then you can wear a charcoal respirator, which is what painters use. They put on this charcoal respirator and spray, but it shouldn't have any problems. Most people don't have problems, but you always have to let people know, look, you might, if you have sore throat or something like that, then you might want to check into that. We have a couple of students that are real sensitive to smells. So what I'm doing right now is just going in over this gray and putting in some of the hair details over our real light gray. And the other thing that the white is doing is helping me get rid of some of my pencil lines. If you see any pencil lines kind of left behind, you could put the white directly over the top of that, and that'll kind of help knock it out a little bit. Now, each stage we do now, we're going to start getting darker and darker and darker, and that's when you'll see this thing really start to come to life. So right now it's a very soft looking kind of pastel pencil looking drawing, and we're going to start going in there and start getting that more photographic style look to it. Now we don't want to go too photographic due to the fact that we want it to look like it's art. If you just want to print out of a nice wolf picture, then there's places that can do nice high quality printouts of stuff that you Google and stuff. This is kind of more of the, I created this. This type of image. If you had a kid and you have a lunchbox or something like that, and you want to throw this type of image on it, that's kind of what this is all about. Being able to do fun stuff like this. If you wanted to, you could do something like this right over the top of your kid's headboard. Put it up on his wall. There's all different areas for you to throw artwork. Artwork is awesome to look at, fun to do. I've been doing this on Blog TV for almost 3 years now. So Blog TV's really allowed me to touch a lot of people's lives, kind of hang out here. Met a lot of new friends on here. So, yeah, please, if you guys are out there just checking it out on the main page, it'd be awesome for you guys to come inside the room, get in here, come inside the room, come down and rate, subscribe to the show, because we do these classes every Saturday. So every Saturday, if you subscribe, it'll give you a little email warning on, hey guys, this is when the class is starting, let's get in here, get all situated. So it allows you to come on in here and hang out, kind of talk with us while we're doing this. Suggestions, we can take suggestions for classes. If you had something you wanted to learn, how to airbrush, how to paint, how to do whatever with it, you could subscribe to me, give me a message of what you guys want to do, and sit there and we can do a class on the next project that you want to do. If you have no patience, yes, it actually is good to do. Because you don't need a lot of patience. You can actually sit there and do a real simple, fast design. Or you can do a little color, just spend about 20-30 minutes, walk away from it, come back